Let's start with a question. When you hear the word OCD, what comes to mind? Maybe it's someone straightening picture frames, or washing their hands a dozen times a day, or color-coordinated closets and neatly labeled jars. It's what pop culture taught us, what sitcoms joked about, what social media memes turned into a personality trait. But here's the truth. OCD isn't quirky. It isn't trendy. And it's far from simple. OCD, Obsessive-Compulsive Disorder, is a deeply misunderstood, often invisible condition that affects millions of people. And for most of them, it's not about being neat. It's about fear. It's about anxiety. It's about a brain that won't stop throwing terrifying questions at you and a heart that never stops trying to answer them, even when it hurts. In this video, we're not just talking about OCD, we're going beneath the surface. We're diving into the 5 surprising, emotional, and eye-opening facts about OCD that most people don't know. We'll hear real stories. We'll challenge stereotypes. And we'll learn together, because the more we understand, the more compassion we create. So, whether you're living with OCD, love someone who is, or simply want to know the truth behind the label, this space is for you. Let's begin. Fact 1. OCD isn't just about cleanliness. One of the most persistent myths about OCD is that it's all about being tidy. That people with OCD just like things clean, or symmetrical, or orderly. And yes, for some, those themes are part of the struggle. But to say OCD is about neatness is like saying depression is just being sad. It's a surface-level understanding that hides a much deeper truth. OCD is made up of 2 parts, obsessions and compulsions. But what the world doesn't always see is that obsessions can center around almost anything. Intrusive thoughts can be about harming a loved one. They can be sexual, violent, blasphemous, existential, or completely nonsensical. And they're always unwanted, always distressing, always filled with shame. One man named David shared his story. I love my daughter more than anything, but sometimes my mind sends me images of hurting her. I feel sick to my stomach. I cry. I pray. I avoid holding her sometimes, just in case. People would think I'm a monster if I told them. But I know I'm not. I would never hurt her. That's what makes it so unbearable. This is called harm OCD, and it's just one example of many subtypes. There's also relationship OCD, where someone constantly doubts their love, their partner's love, or the truth of their feelings. There's sexual orientation OCD, scrupulosity, religious/moral OCD, contamination OCD, existential OCD, and more. Each subtype comes with its own set of obsessions and compulsions, but they all have something in common: doubt, fear, and the exhausting rituals people perform to try to feel safe again. So the next time you hear someone say, "I'm so OCD because I like things clean," remember, real OCD goes far deeper. It's not about being organized. It's about trying to survive. Fact 2. OCD can be completely invisible. One of the most painful truths about OCD is how invisible it can be. Many people with OCD walk through life looking calm, functioning normally, even thriving professionally. But inside, their minds are constantly spinning with doubt, fear, and guilt. There's a form of OCD called puro, or purely obsessional OCD, where compulsions are entirely mental. No hand-washing, no checking, just endless thinking, ruminating, replaying, seeking mental reassurance. It's like being trapped in a thought loop that never stops. A young woman named Sarah described it like this: "Every conversation I have, I replay for hours afterward. Did I say something wrong? Did I offend someone? What if I lied and didn't realize it? What if I'm secretly a bad person and I just don't know it?" From the outside, she looked fine. But on the inside, she was exhausted, terrified, crushed by the pressure to be good and the fear that maybe she wasn't. Puro is dangerous because people with it often don't even realize they have OCD. They just think they're anxious or guilty or broken. And because their compulsions aren't visible, others might dismiss their suffering. "You don't look like you're struggling." But pain doesn't need to be visible to be valid. This is why education is so important. We need to recognize that OCD doesn't always come with outward rituals. Sometimes the storm is all inside, and it's just as devastating. Fact 3. People with OCD are aware their thoughts are irrational. Here's something most people don't realize. People with OCD usually know their thoughts are irrational. That's what makes it even more painful. They know it doesn't make sense to wash their hands 20 times. They know flipping the light switch on and off won't stop their loved one from getting hurt. They know the intrusive thought isn't real. But knowing that doesn't make the anxiety go away. This is one of the cruelest parts of OCD. It's not a lack of awareness. It's hyper-awareness. It's being fully conscious of how illogical your fears are, and yet still feeling completely powerless against them. Dr. Fred Penzel calls OCD the doubting disease, and for good reason. It thrives on uncertainty, on the need for absolute certainty where none exists. What if I didn't really lock the door? What if I did something terrible and forgot? What if I never find peace unless I check one more time? Even after performing compulsions, the doubt comes back. The relief is temporary, and the cycle continues. Imagine having to question your every move. Imagine being afraid of your own mind. That's what millions of people live with every day. And they're not weak. They're not broken. They're fighting a battle most of us can't even see. Fact 4. OCD doesn't discriminate. OCD doesn't care about your background, your intelligence, your values, or your faith. It can affect anyone, regardless of race, religion, gender, or profession. It doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're broken. It just means you're human, and your brain got caught in a loop it can't escape from alone. One of the most heartbreaking forms of OCD is scrupulosity. It targets people's deepest morals and spiritual beliefs. Someone who is religious may be tormented by blasphemous thoughts or fears of eternal damnation. They may pray repeatedly, confess compulsively, or seek endless reassurance from religious leaders. But it's not about faith, it's about fear-using faith. Scrupulosity can also target morality. People ask, did I lie? Did I cheat? Did I manipulate someone unintentionally? They apologize for things that don't need apologizing. They confess things they didn't even do, just to quiet the guilt. It's important to understand, OCD doesn't reflect who a person is. It's not a reflection of their morality. In fact, many people with OCD are deeply caring, empathetic, and ethical. That's why OCD hits them so hard, because it attacks what they value most. OCD is not a punishment. It's not a character flaw. It's a mental illness. And it deserves compassion, not judgment. Fact 5. OCD is treatable, and there is real hope. Here's the good news. OCD is treatable. With the right help, people can get better. They can reclaim their lives. They can experience joy, peace, and freedom again. The most evidence-based treatment for OCD is exposure and response prevention therapy, ERP. ERP helps people face their fears, tolerate uncertainty, and resist the urge to do compulsions. It's uncomfortable, but it works. There's also cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, mindfulness, and for some, medication like SSRIs can be life-changing. But even more powerful than all of these is hope, the belief that healing is possible. Recovery doesn't mean the thoughts go away forever. It means they no longer control you. It means learning to say, that's just OCD talking, and I don't have to listen. We need to build a world where people with OCD feel safe to ask for help. Where shame is replaced by understanding. Where silence is broken by stories, voices, connection. If you're watching this and struggling, please know you are not alone. There is a whole community out there who gets it, who sees you, who believes in your strength. And if you're someone supporting a loved one with OCD, thank you. Your presence matters more than you know. We've covered a lot today. And maybe you're feeling emotional. Maybe you're thinking about someone you love. Or maybe, for the first time, you're realizing. That sounds like me. No matter who you are, thank you for being here. For listening. for learning, for caring. OCD is real. It's hard, but it's also survivable, treatable, and absolutely worthy of attention. Let's end the stigma. Let's raise our voices. Let's create a world where no one has to suffer in silence anymore. If this video helped you, please share it. Leave a comment below. Let's keep the conversation going. And above all, be kind to yourself. You deserve it.